Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Welcome to this talk show, the very first talk show of Gaur Academy channel. And very excited to be preparing for Gaura Purnima, a very special Gaur Purnima, which has a total lunar eclipse happening on that day. And we have 3 Vaishnavis who are not here. All of them are not here. Only 2 of you are here. Krishna Premarupa Madhavi is not here yet, but we have 3 of you who volunteered, and you've chosen a specific symbol on the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Wow, what a great opportunity. They say love is in the details. So without further ado, let me introduce you to Taruni Radha. Hari Bol. Taruni Radha, she's a very dear friend of mine. She lives in New Jersey, and I am looking forward. Could you please tell us what are the symbols that you have chosen?
Today I've chosen to speak about Ankusha, the gourd,
Okay.
on Chaitanya's right feet, which resembles like the elephant. On the top of the elephant, there is this elephant tamer. He uses the gourd to control the elephant. So
Okay.
our mind is very symbolic of this mad elephant. And then with the help of this gourd, which is present on the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we can control our mind by taking shelter of his
Wonderful
lotus feet.
choice. Looking forward to hear more. And we have Kulavati Krishna Priya. Welcome, Kulavati Krishna Priya, who's become a resident of Sridham Mayapur. So please tell us, what was your choice of symbols?
Hare Krishna, Mataji. I have chosen Lotus. Lotus, which is in Gauranga's right feet, and it resembles our the divine love which we have for him. And I got a few quotes from Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's Rupa Chintamani, and it's very beautiful how he says, how he compares our heart with the lotus, and how we can learn from the lotus symbol that is on Mahaprabhu's feet.
Oh, Jai. Thank you so much. Welcome. And we have in our esteemed audience, Anuttara Devi, Nandini Kishori, Rukmini Priya Mataji, Vrajmanjari Mataji, Yamuna. Thank you so much for joining. And all of you are encouraged and welcome to ask any questions. We will have 3 parts of this talk show. The first section of the talk show will be expressing the definition of this symbol, what it represents, and any Shastric references. The second part would be, what does this mean to you personally? What is your personal life application of this particular symbol? Why you felt attracted to choose this symbol? And the third part would be, what's the preaching application? How could we actually share Krishna consciousness using the shelter of that specific symbol to others? And also the third part includes prayer and preaching and prayer aspect of it. All right, we can start with the first, and welcome, Ashka. We can start with the first question. Taruni Radha, would you like to give us the definition?
The definition of the gourd, the Ankusha.
Yes.
The Ankusha or the gourd, which is present in the right feet of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It is symbolic of how the elephant tamer who's sitting on top of the elephant, how he's taming the elephant, the wild elephant. It can just run amok and then destroy the entire plantation if he is not controlling it. Likewise, our mind too, it's very restless, it's very chanchala, it's very difficult to tame the mind. Even Arjuna says to Krishna, I can control the restless wind, but then to control the restless mind, it's extremely hard. And that's when Krishna says, yes, by just detachment and practice you can. And like that's the reason why the elephant tamer, with a lot of practice, he's always with the elephant. Each elephant has got its own tamer, right? So, and how does he do it? He doesn't do it with a hand, but with the help of a gourd. So with that, he's like always keeping it on track by a lot of practice. And also when the elephant goes in astray, he puts it back. So he's always trying to, what do you say, he's doing it in a very detached manner, because sometimes he has to also whip it, and then so that it comes on the right path. So he's very detached. But if you're very attached, it's very difficult to, like, you'll feel, oh my god, the elephant is feeling so much of pain by whipping it with the help of the gourd. But then the tamer, he's got two things, which is detachment as well as practice, and exactly what he applies with the elephant, like how Krishna explains to Arjuna how to tame the mind. So this goad is very important. So when we are meditating on the this particular symbol on the feet of Lord Chaitanya, Ankusha, it helps us to realize that by ourselves we are very incapable of taming this mind. Every person, every conditioned soul who's born in this material world, who takes birth, they're always born with this kind of dualities, which is raga and dvesha. Raga means so much of attachment. I like certain things and I want to enjoy this. That is raga. Dvesha means I don't like this. I envy this. I envy this. So there is always that I want to enjoy and I do not like this and I hate this. So it's just these two. These are the two things that every Raga and Desha is very intrinsic to that subtle body, and this is carried in the mind of every living entity, the external covering, the subtle covering of that particular of the pure soul. So it's present. So how do we come out of this Raga Dvesha? That's the whole aim. Unless we, transcend this Raga Dvesha, we will not be able to come to this pure consciousness. And then without that pure consciousness, to come to the position of pure loving devotional service to the Lord, Gauranga, it's very hard. Even the Yuga Dharma, which is the chanting of the holy name, in which the mind should be engaged in chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, that also is very difficult if the mind is not under our control. So by just taking shelter of the very same lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who came to inaugurate this chanting of the holy name Yuga Dharma, this gourd on his lotus feet, the right feet of his beautiful transcendental Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's feet, when we are taking shelter of it, then we can understand by his mercy alone can, this restless, harassed mind can be tamed. There's no other way. There's no other way. We can only endeavor, but then only by his causeless mercy can it happen. So we are under his control. We are under his, mercy. So we need to realize that it's very difficult to attain anything without the mercy of Guru and Krishna. So we need to pray. We need to pray a lot to Guru and Krishna so that the mind can be tamed down, and then we can concentrate purely in the chanting or in our services. So this is the sense.
Thank you. Let me just put this. Yes. Oh, putting me. How do I put both? Here. Add pin. Yes. So when you were speaking, another picture that was coming to my mind was anchor, anchoring our mind in the right place, because otherwise the winds of karma can also take us away. And then another point that came to my mind is in the 12 steps program, how we say we can't fix ourselves. We need the mercy of the Lord. So that was another one. So could you tell what's the connection between anchor and goad?
The anchor in the ship helps the ship not to just, float away in the ocean, in the turbulent ocean. Likewise, for us conditioned souls who are really struggling in this material ocean, it is very important to have an anchor. That anchor is the lotus feet of the Lord. And then when it comes to the gourd, the anchor is only very static. It's like, it just allows you to be fixed. Okay. But then when the gourd is like, it's got the ability to even whip you sometimes. So if you're making mistakes, and then it's very important, His Holiness Ramapada Swami Maharaj says, you either learn through nice instructions or you can also learn through hard knocks in life. So the goad is also symbolic of getting those hard knocks and then realizing that, oh gosh, this is not okay. So I need to, like, rectify myself, refine my thought process. And, I'm letting my mind to dwell in things which are really unnecessary and then try to uplift. So the goad is both, it not only keeps you on track sometimes, there is the whips also, but the anchor is very static. It just gives you a
Yeah.
resting place.
And this reminds me of an astrological perspective. The goad is like this stimulus, it's sharp, cuts the knot of karmic chain and helps us rewire. The goad is the way to rewire, because rewiring takes a little bit of a little pinching. Whereas, so it's Mars energy, Shingadev, I'm thinking, cuts the, what's that? Thamo grasaya, right?
Om Swaha. Yeah.
So to destroy ignorance, there needs to be sharp cutting edge. So that's goad, to cut it and pull it. Whereas the anchor, I'm thinking it's more like Saturn, the energy of stability to stay in a place, which doesn't necessarily rewire. Yeah.
True, true.
Thank you.
When you
So
spoke about that sharp words, what was coming to my mind? It's
yeah.
like the Guru's words are so heavy, they're so sharp, and they cut that ignorance in the heart of the disciple. If the disciple is very submissive and trying to hear, those words, which are very heavy, can actually cut through the ignorance. And then the disciple is able to see, oh my God, this is a mistake. And then, okay, I need to, fix myself this way. So it's very heavy. So those hard cuts are required. And only a superior can speak like that to a person who's their subordinate, not everybody else. So that also just came to my mind.
It's so powerful to meditate on these symbols because it's let's say, symbolism. It's so important to understand how each one. Now we'll hear it's very interesting that we have goad, and then we're going to hear lotus, which is like a opposite functional qualities. It's important to understand the Lord will be cutting when he has to cut. And Kulavati Krishnapriya, could you tell us what is the symbol of lotus and how do you describe it?
The lotus signifies that just as a lotus grows out of water, similarly those whose eyes swell with tears upon chanting Nityananda in Gauranga, they receive the highest benefit. So the lotus itself, it carries layers of meanings. Like, first of all, the thing is, it rises from the muddy waters which are untouched by the environment from which it emerges. Like Mahaprabhu, he came into this Kali Yuga. The Kali Yuga is like the muddy water, dirty, lots of problems. But still he is like that lotus which doesn't get touched by the muddy waters. We also get to know about the opulence, one of the opulence of Krishna, that he doesn't get influenced by the material nature, even though he has created this whole material manifestation. And the lotus, so that is one point which I got, which I wrote about. And the other thing is, the Lord he's not controlled by these three modes of material nature, but he's only controlled by love. So now comes the point what we can learn as sadhakas from this symbol on the Lord's lotus feet. So the Acharyas, specifically Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, in his book Rupa Chintamani, he speaks about this point that the devotee mind is like a bee. A bee cannot resist the fragrance of a blooming lotus. It hovers, drawn by sweetness, finally resting deep within the flower's whorl. Similarly, our mind is like that bee, and we are looking for that nectar. And when we find that in the lotus feet, the lotus of the Lord, so we get that satisfaction. So he says, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he speaks about this aspect of lobha, that how this attraction is described as lobha, spiritual longing, and not forced discipline. It is, we know the price that we have to pay to enter Goloka is greed, lobha, lalasa mai, like our acharyas have described. So approaching the lotus with this greed, with this longing that I want to attain Krishna prema, this actually helps us to come very, very near to the Lord. So when we are all like Madhukar Dasis, we are all looking after that nectar. So when the soul tastes even a drop of that nectar, so it naturally gets attracted to that lotus. And in contrast to that, if this nectar is not there in our lives, just jnana and vairagya, the dry intellectualism and the mechanical renunciation, they are not sufficient for us as aspiring devotees to actually come to the platform of really loving the Lord. So the bee of the mind cannot remain satisfied with speculation alone. It yearns for that rasa, for that nectar. And when we think about the lotus, it resembles how we are looking after that rasa and how we can get to that point where all our acharyas, specifically when we sing about those bhajans by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, where he says, Kobe hobe mono, Kobe hobe bolo age, shedino amar, and all these bhajans, when we sing about them, when we sing them, so we get that longing. So that was one thing which was actually why I chose also the lotus symbol, because from day one I always have been attracted by this aspect of lobha, and how it is not by our own will that we will be able to attain the mercy of the Lord. It is only and only because of the mercy of the devotees and the Lord that we can come up to that platform. And it is like we are in this mud of this material world, and the Lord will actually help us become like the lotus-like devotees, and we will be able to please Him. The other thing which I found very significant in this symbol is just like a lotus doesn't get touched by the muddy water, so in the same way we have to live in this world. We don't have to run away from our responsibilities, falgu vairagya. We have to live, but we have to live in such a way that we don't get touched by the various problems or complexities of life. There will be problems, but we don't have to run away. Krishna didn't say Arjuna to run away from the battle of Kurukshetra. So we have to face it, but at the same time, we don't have to get affected by it. So that was another point which I found, like the Lord doesn't get affected by the material modes of nature because He is above the three modes, and we also should not get affected by the material modes of nature because we have to transcend the three modes by the mercy of the Supreme Lord. So that was the two things which at the same time, like, I found. And then the other thing, which is wherever there is Krishna, there is prosperity. So lotus also signifies prosperity. Lakshmi Devi, she is always residing at the Lord's lotus feet also. So wherever the Lord is honored, all auspiciousness follow. So the devotees, they don't have to worship, like go after wealth. If they worship Narayana, Lakshmi Devi also comes. So if they are pleasing Krishna, if they are pleasing the Lord, Lakshmi Devi also comes. And ultimately, I found the prayer which I want to share is that the lotus on Mahaprabhu's feet, it's an invitation. It invites the conditioned soul to rise above the contamination while remaining in the world. It invites the restless mind to find its true object of love. It invites the dry heart to soften through divine remembrance, and it assures us that the highest fortune lies not in worldly achievement but in taking shelter of those lotus feet. So just like Mahaprabhu, another point is I would conclude it that just like the lotus is living, I mean, it's thriving on the water of the pond. So we also need the lotus consciousness of our heart. It needs that prema jala, the water of divine love, which can get filled when we cry through tears. So the acharyas teach that when tears arise during chanting, the heart becomes soft, it becomes fertile for that lotus to come up. And in such a heart, the lotus of the remembrance of the Lord naturally unfolds. And this is how, when we meditate on this particular symbol on Mahaprabhu's feet, our love towards him becomes spontaneous rather than mechanical. So this is what I prepared. It was a very nice experience preparing this, and I'm very grateful that I got this opportunity to share about what I feel about the lotus symbol. I wish that.
Thank you, Kulavati, but you can't get excited yet because we're still entering the important phase where it's going to be a transcendental debate between Taruni Radha and Kulavati Krishnapriya. Yes, always surprise. So, if you were asked to truly transform a soul's deep-seated patterns, samskaras, vasanas, karmic bond, which symbol is more essential instrument? The lotus, which kind of melts our heart looking at the compassion and sweetness of the Lord and the prosperity aspect, which is more about grace and beauty, or the goad, which destroys the wild mind, as Taruni Radha was saying, through the sharp necessity of being like Nrsingadev's nails, discipline and restraint. Which of the two? And let's have a vote in our audience. How many of you vote for Lotus? Raise your hand. Okay, 1, 2. I have to see digital hands, otherwise it's difficult to count physically because 1, 2. Okay, 2, 3. We have 3 votes for Lotus. And okay, next is Goad. How many of you vote for Goad? 1, 2. 3. 3, I mean, come on, 3 and 3. Okay, 4. Now, Kulavati Krishnapriya and Taruni Radha, we're going to take a vote after 2 minutes of debate, and let's see if the vote changes. You have to convince us why, Taruni Radha, you have to convince us why the goad is necessary for transformation. And Kulavati Krishnapriya, you have to convince us that the honey of devotion naturally attracts the mind, and then get the result of the vote changed. And your time begins, and actually I can hear the time ticking in Kulavati's place. I can hear the every second.
So one of us goes first, is
Yeah,
it?
each of you get 1 minute to convince.
Okay.
Okay. So
Okay.
who wants to go first? Kulavati, go first.
Okay.
So the lotus, it's actually when we cannot get rid of our problems by ourselves. So we have to cry for that mercy. So when we beg the Lord by crying, by completely surrendering Him, in spite of our having those problems, it is like approaching Him with that genuine greed, with that genuine longing for getting the nectar. So we don't see if we deserve or we don't deserve. We just go and we just cry like a child so that the Lord gives us that mercy, gives us that nectar. So that's one thing. And the other thing, the mind actually is looking for such a solace, such a place to rest. So the lotus, it's like that beautiful resting place where the wandering mind can actually hold, like the feet of our guru. So then the wandering mind holds that lotus feet of the guru, so that it actually gets into that
Time up. Thank you.
Okay.
Haribol. Okay, give her a big hand. Yeah,
Um,
that's okay. Thank you. Taruni Radha, when you're ready, your time starts now.
Okay. The goad, the symbol which is allowing the mind to be tamed by by Krishna's lotus feet. This is very necessary because as a sadhaka, once the mind is under control, then we can take shelter much more easily. Because of our raga dvesha, as I explained previously, there is so much of dissatisfaction or unhappiness. But then when we realize and take shelter of the Srimad Bhagavatam instructions of the Guru, then we realize every living entity can feel satisfied by whatever providence is providing him. With this we can feel very delighted, and then the mind becomes purified. Whatever happens is it's the different beautiful plan that Krishna has arranged. So if in this kind of a understanding we approach, then the mind becomes satisfied. So this also is the instruction which is coming from the Lord, which is like a goad. Even our shastras, it's like guiding us. It's just like the goad. So the shastras or the instructions of the Guru, it's so important. If the mind is not under control, it is very difficult to even approach the sweet lotus feet of the Lord. When that is correct, when that is corrected by the instructions of both the Shastras as well as the instructions of the Guru, then it's much more easier to relish the Bhakti Rasa, which is so much the soul is hankering for. Because without that Bhakti Rasa, it's very hard. We are just into speculation or doing karma kanda, rituals and things like that, where so we need to transcend beyond karma as well as the jnana and come to this Bhakti Rasa. That is
Time
very
up,
much
time up, time up.
because of the mind. Yes. Sorry, best. All
You were
right.
so fast.
Because of that 1 minute.
Good job. Good job. Good job. Okay. Anybody has any questions for the speakers today? Challenges.
I wanted to ask, Sri Radha Mataji's question was, for a neophyte devotee, what is more important? So if the speakers can answer that between the two symbols.
Did I say neophyte? I don't remember that.
So if the question were like that a person new to bhakti.
Okay, that's a good question. Okay, I just said to truly transform a soul, but she's saying, what if it was a question about new devotees? Taruni Radha, you're muted.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, so if it's a new devotee also, its mind is considered in the Gita also. The mind should be made into a friend, not as an enemy. When the mind is your enemy, it's very hard to approach the Lord, the devotees, the Shastras. So it's very important to at least come to the mode of goodness. Even Krishna says we need to come at least to the mode of goodness, which acts as a springboard to come into this process of devotional service or pure devotional service. That's very hard. That's very high for a neophyte. But then even from the tamogun or rajagun coming to the mode of goodness, this is through the help of the mind only, right? So the mind should be very much focused in either by having regulation in your all the processes that you're doing, your hearing and chanting. If there is some kind of regulation, then you move to the mode of goodness. That will help the mind to be tamed down. So when the mind is in that kind of a situation, then it's much more easier to relish or take the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, which is symbolic of the wonderful, lotus flower.
Thank you. Thank you. Kulavati?
So for the for a new devotee, it is the game changer for us is desire. For a new devotee, the attraction towards the Lord has to be there, so that the new devotee also starts practicing the mechanics or starts practicing to control the mind. Because if there is no desire, no inspiration, no impetus, then the activity is difficult to perform. It becomes more superficial. So when he develops that attraction, that desire, then the activity of controlling the rules, regulations, everything, it becomes more meaningful and it becomes more profound and impactful. So it is like, even if the person is doing a small, like new devotee, just one round, but that one round becomes like very impactful or quality. It would be like quality chanting, not just quantity chanting. It's not easy to concentrate on just the quality in the initial stage, but still it will give a very good experience to the new devotee itself, because he gets that profound inspiration by through that attraction, through that attraction principle. And Krishna means all attractive, so first we have to get attracted to him, and that attraction can come because when we get into that mode of intense greed, intense desire, that's also important for a new devotee.
Thank you. Any other questions?
I just had one thing to add after hearing that. That was beautiful answer by Mataji. I was just thinking for a new devotee, that initial attraction towards the Lord, it's a little bit, that deep attraction for the Lord is a little hard for the new devotee. So if they are able to follow the instruction of the senior devotees, whoever they've kind of been introduced to, and if they're following their words, then it helps them a little bit to come to the stage where they get that instantaneous, so much of attraction to the Lord. And that will help them to, further go through the path. And that then the mind is very easy. There's no question of the mind because there's so much of intense attraction. The lobulum is like very high. But initially, it's like, you follow, you get your mind to be submissive to those instructions of your seniors, whoever is introducing you. So then that'll be helpful. That was what I was thinking.
You want to respond, Kulavati?
Yes, I agree to that, but still, for it depends, I think, individually. And if someone actually becomes very sincere, maybe the person is continuing from the past, he was or she was a devotee, so we don't know how much percentage they are resuming in this particular lifetime. So I think it depends on individual to individual.
That's okay. Good point. Yes, Yamuna, go ahead. Ask your question.
Hare Krishna, yeah, that was actually also my point. If we have to decide between the two, because I think the one is for one more effective and the other for others. So we know, for example, how Prabhupada was always teaching, like, you're a rascal, you are not this body, you're just wasting your time. But on the other hand, he was so kind and he was cooking for everyone in the beginning. And we know that people don't care what you know until you know that they care. So I think for people who are really suffering, the kindness must be there. And for people who are enjoying life already and they think like, yeah, it's actually nice, you have to be hard. So it's like Mataji said, like it really depends on which personality you are, what is really more stronger for you. But of course we need both, otherwise we couldn't evolve.
Yeah.
So do we have to decide in that sense?
No, there's one more final round for the speakers today, and then after that we'll take the vote. Thank you. Okay, yes, Nandini Kishori, go ahead.
I wanted to say that's such a nice debate. Now I feel like they're the two sides of the same coin. And my vote is undecided.
No, wait for the final exam. Okay, ready
Okay.
for the final? I have a final question for both of you. And the question is, I want Taruni Radha to argue for the Lotus now. Why is Lotus more essential and important for a growth of a devotee's progress? And I want Kulavati Krishnapriya to argue why Goad is more essential in our devotional progress. And you got 1 minute each, and you can go. Kulavati, you can start. Time starts now.
So the Goad is important because it is not necessary that everyone is completely in that stage. It is completely fine if someone has problems, and it is okay if we follow the instructions initially so that we can help ourselves come into that particular mode, particular path, and there are high chances that a person can fall down, and a person can take things in a cheap way because they will not understand the intricate meanings, the higher meanings. So it's better if we keep them away from that particular aspect and give them a chance to go step by step, one step at a time, and give them an opportunity to get into that. We should actually tell them, you can take your time and just follow the instructions and just do it, and so that will automatically make them attracted to Krishna, because they are
Time is
not
up.
developing that
Thank you.
attraction.
Time is up.
Mhm.
Okay, Taruni Radha.
Okay, this is easy. Lotus is easy. Uh, it's so beautiful. I mean, it's just meditating on the lotus itself just makes my heart so happy. Lotus is it's just so amazing because it's symbolic of the bhakti rasa, and all of us are hankering for that. Everybody's hankering for some rasa. Rasa means happiness, a joy, a kind of exchange, a relationship, a kind of a mellow, which our acharyas speak about the different five kind of mellows. And then this bhakti rasa is what nourishes a devotee up till the end of coming to prema. And in the beginning, the reasons why we are running behind, like either having our mind to do some shopping or browsing, etc., because we are trying to find some rasa in our life, even though as devotees we are not feeling that, we're not feeling the complete nourishment. So the lotus is symbolic of the complete bhakti rasa that once the soul experiences, it's very very easy to overcome all the all the different attractions that the mind can just pose, the yes and no's, the mind says do this, do that, and then we can just transcend all of this once we experience it. And that is present again in our scriptures. We can experience bhakti rasa, the beautiful reciprocation of Krishna himself to our prayers, to our working service.
Thank
That
you.
is
Okay,
that's right.
thank you. That was fantastic. Did a good job. Okay, now we can actually take the vote. And you can only choose one symbol, just in case you're thinking too much out of the box. And the speakers can also vote. And the vote does not necessarily derive from a philosophical, theological conclusion, because as we saw, when you're on the opposite team, you still can argue your heart out. And I liked how Tarini rather started saying, this one is easy. That was so like becoming of a devotee. So the speakers can also vote right now. And it's just a personal preference. It could, if you can't decide, if you're undecided, you can see which symbol do you need the most at this point in your life? Which one do you feel is essential? Okay, whenever you're ready, 1, 2, 3, go. Voting time begins now. No, both are needed is not the answer right now. You have to choose one. Yes, that's the philosophical answer. What about personal answer? So we are going to, there are symbols, right, in the effects. So in the reactions, the open mouth symbol would be the goad. And the heart will be the lotus. Okay, you can choose either the goad, who's like, whoa, or the heart. 1, 2, 3, go. Everybody at the same time. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We are in a tie now. It's a tie. Ladies, it's a tie. What do we do now? You have to defend your symbol now again. One more time. Okay, let's do this. This is a little hard one because it's a tie. Both of you get 20 seconds to think. And you're going to come up with one sentence to say a prayer addressing that symbol. You get 20 seconds to think about it, and then you're going to say the prayer. Actually, this exercise, even our listeners, kindly do this. Everybody is going to write a prayer in the chat box. And I will pick the 3 most beautiful or most heart-touching prayers, right? You get like 30 seconds actually. Everybody, including the speakers, will write a prayer. One prayer will be to the lotus symbol, and the other prayer will be in the mood of Goad, and how do we pray to the Lord? And no copying, just type it. Don't overthink. Just type it in the chat box. And everybody can, when you're done with yours and you put it in the chat box, you can just quickly go over the prayers and put a heart. And the more number of heart one thing gets, I'll read those, I guess. Beautiful, beautiful. Taruni Radha, could you kindly pick a few and read them? 2, 3, and Krishna Kulavati, Krishna Priya can read some from the chat box.
Okay, so I need to read now. Can you pick? Okay, so whichever has got a heart, I just have to pick up, Mataji.
Yeah, I mean, I think we should read everything. Everything is so beautiful. I'll start one. The one Rajmanjari says, I love the lotus, but need the gourd. She said that earlier. Okay, go ahead with the prayers.
Okay. Yamuna Mat. Okay, wait. Okay. Oh
And
Lord. Yeah. Me and mind. Okay. Let me pray as it is. Oh Lord, may my mind always be like a bee. Raja Manjari has written, oh sweet Lord, help me goad my mind to constantly choose you over worldly distractions. You have written, dear Lord, may the cooling lotus of your lotus feet give shelter to my heart, where you reside in the lotus temple of my heart. Okay. And one more. Dear Lord, may the Goad redirect my life and give me strength to rewire my karmic patterns so that I can become dedicated to the instructions of my spiritual master and anchor my devotion on the path of the Acharyas. That's so beautiful. Oh Lord, please take everything away from me that is hindering me to you. Give me everything that brings me to you. Oh Lord, please take me from myself and take me to yours. Saint Nicholas, Yamuna Mataji is written. Rajamanjari said, O sweet Lord, help me to relish your lotus-like sweetness and nourish my heart.
Kulavati, would
Some
you
word
like to read?
some word of Mataji.
So I'll read. O sweet Lord, help me to relish your lotus-like sweetness and nourish my heart. O Lord, who has the goad on your feet, please let me see that everything is coming as a spark of your splendor and be attracted only and only to you eternally. Kurumukha Padmavakya Chittate Kurya Akya. We want to hear words from spiritual master's lotus mouth. However, personal chastisement is like goad. It's very personal. Lotus sways, goad firmly fixes us. Dear lotus imprint on the left of gold, kindly increase my greed for nectar in my mind, which like a confused bee, going hither and thither to focus on your feet and take its shelter. Dear lotus flower mark on the lotus feet of Lord Gauranga, please give me shelter when I feel distressed by the suffering of this world. Your soft and fragrant petals are refuge and solace for the austerity of this material existence. O Lord, who has the lotus on your feet, please allow me to experience the sweetness of nectar that's present as Bhakti Rasa in this very lotus that have hankered for eternally. Dear Lord, my mind always remain at your lotus feet. Let me take shelter of the God symbol because I depend on him to remove my deficiencies.
Okay, thank you so much. This was so beautiful. The prayers are really like, wow, out of this world. Now, everybody, please close your eyes, relax your shoulders, take a deep breath, and we're going to enter a short visualization. Visualize yourself in the garden of Goloka Vrindavan. And there you see the lotus footprints of the Lord marked on the floor. And especially radiating with light, you see the gold and lotus is shining bright. And these symbols are not material. They're not like objects. They are alive. They're personalities. When we approach, as we see the gold shining, we pray at this symbol, which has got residence at the lotus feet of Gauranga. We welcome the lessons the gold has to teach us, the quality of the Lord to redirect us, put us on the right path, to purify us, to uplift us. And we feel lifted. God is lifting our spirits, lifting our consciousness. And we feel so grateful. We feel so light. And we're flying there. Our feet is above the ground. And now we witness this beautiful lotus. Very, very pinkish, just like the lotus feet of the Lord. Pinkish lotus feet, soft, reflecting the compassion, devotion. And this lotus takes a beautiful form and shape and enters your heart. And this lotus is now seated in the temple of your heart, in a little lake in front of the temple of your heart, blooming, representing your devotion and your soul desire to please Guru and Krishna. And there nearby, we see our group of Vaishnavis headed by Taruni Radha and Kulavati, who have just given us a glimpse of the sweet glories of the Lord. We smile and we bless them. We express our gratitude. And together, we're playing instruments, singing together, and we're looking at each other's heart, this beautiful gold symbol, and the lotus is shining in our hearts. And we're filled with gratitude and empowerment and filled with grace. Pay our obeisances and we enter our memory garden. Hold this visualization for future meditation. This can become your memory gate. Whenever you feel anxious, you can enter this garden and access this graceful mercy, the strong but yet soft mercy of the Lord. And we also look forward for other Vaishnavis to share with us more delightful surprises, more debates, more transcendental competition. And we will enter another memory garden in our next session. Take a deep breath. Let me see your smiles. Thank you very much for your attention and for your participation. And I would like to ask who would like to volunteer. Tomorrow we need at least one more speaker. I guess Prema Rupa Madhavi, you missed today, so would you like to join tomorrow? Yeah? Okay, you have two symbols, and there will be Anuttara and yourself. That would be great. Okay, so it's decided tomorrow will be Prema Rupa Madhavi and Anuttara. And we'll decide the day after tomorrow who's going to be another speaker. Thank you very much for your attention. Hare Krishna.
Krishna.